Feilu Novel Network exclusively signed a novel. Siheyuan. Krypting Life, Liuku Immortal Thief, and Killing Birds. Traveling through 1965, he became the orphan of Birds Full of Siheyuan. Discovering that the deaf old lady locked the door and indulging the foolish pillar in bullying her sister. And he punched himself to the west. Fortunately, awakening the Six Treasures Immortal Thief, only by constantly eating can one become stronger. Faced with all the animals in the courtyard, Zhang Weidong never got used to it and reported it directly to the police. Quickly, silly Zhu was sentenced and the deaf old lady was imprisoned. And Yi Zhonghai intentionally killed someone and was directly shot. With the collective imprisonment of many birds, Zhang Weidong's life has been getting better and better, making the birds and beasts envious. Gradually, when Zhang Weidong arrived at the Zhengyang Gate, he realized that there were also Xu Huizhen, the Nine Gates Supervisor Guan, and of course, the Crescent HotelFeilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001, People in the Courtyard, starting with the Six Treasures Immortal Thief. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother, wake up, don't scare me, don't leave me alone, sob. In the 1960s. 4 or 9 cities. Chaoyang Hospital. On the cold hospital bed lay a young man who was about 18 years old, with a pale face and a somewhat frail body. Beside the young man, the speaker was a delicate young girl with snowy skin. It's Zhang Yu, the younger sister of the youth. Where am I? Feeling dizzy, Zhang Weidong woke up feeling exhausted. Immediately afterwards, I felt a sharp pain coming from my brain. He couldn't help but take a deep breath of air conditioning. Open your eyes. When you see the environment in front of you. Zhang Weidong was immediately stunned. What caught the eye was a beautiful girl wearing a deep red cotton jacket with floral plaid and 2 ponytails tied up. Next to the hospital bed. On the table. An enamel cup. The enamel cup is painted with a red 5-pointed star, and next to it is a portrait of a great man. It also says, serving the people 5 small red characters. And looking out the window, outside the hospital, there were people coming and going, some wearing Zhongshan suits, holding briefcases, riding Phoenix bicycles, some wearing light blue work clothes, and banners on the street. The working people are the most glorious, greedy for the dark, getting up early, running with the moon, a series of inspiring slogans. This is a unique atmosphere of the 1960s. Accompanied by the influx of information in the mind. Zhang Weidong was completely dumbfounded. He not only traveled back to the 1960s when supplies were scarce, what made him feel even more mischievous was that he had actually dressed up in the world of Birds Full of 4 Courtyards. Originally an ordinary resident living in the middle courtyard, his father Zhang Jianguo was originally a level 6 fitter at a steel rolling mill, but he died unexpectedly in an accident 5 years ago. And last year, my original mother had to drive myself and my sister, mother, and son out of the courtyard because of the beasts in the courtyard. After a big argument with an old man named Yi Zhonghai and an old woman. Suicide by taking poison. The passing of Mother Qin Sume has restrained the beasts. And because of the sudden death of her mother Qin Sume. After graduating from junior high school, I never went back to school again. But instead, he took over his father's position at the steel rolling mill and became an ordinary first-level fitter. I rely on my younger sister Zhang Yu, who is 16 years old and currently studying in junior high school. After fully integrating the memories of the original owner, what shocked and angered Zhang Weidong is still to come. The reason why I was suddenly hospitalized. Mainly because I finished work at the steel rolling mill yesterday and was preparing to go back to the yard to cook for my sister who came home for dinner. Unexpectedly discovered a deaf old lady standing at the entrance of silly Zhu's house, stealthily locking the door. At the beginning, the original owner didn't notice anything. But when he heard his sister Zhang Yu crying and shouting, "Help," and other words coming from the silly pillar's room. The original owner was furious. Without saying a word, he rushed up and pushed the deaf old lady away, directly kicking Silly Zhu's room open. Coincidentally, I discovered that Silly Zhu wanted to do something bad and bully his sister. Upon being discovered by Genshin Impact, he immediately promised to marry his sister as long as Genshin Impact agreed. Stupid Zhu will take care of his original body and so on. The reason why the deaf old lady helped Silly Zhu lock the door was also because she knew that Silly Zhu coveted Zhang Weidong's sister, Zhang Yu, who was handsome. And currently, at the age of 28, there is no wife. Thinking about using the lock door technique to make Zhang Yu surrender. Women nowadays place great emphasis on chastity. As long as the raw rice is cooked and cooked, there is no fear that Zhang Yu will not marry Silly Zhu. So, by then, the two houses in Zhang Weidong's family will be. Shouldn't it be possible to free it up for stupid Zhu? However, the deaf old lady still has the methods of the old and young beasts, Silly Zhu. But it completely touched the scales of the original body. I started fighting with Silly Zhu directly, but Silly Zhu claimed to be the god of war in the courtyard. My original body is only 18 years old this year, and I am already thin and weak in stature, so I am not a match for these two foolish people. Be punched and kicked by the foolish pillar. In the end, he was directly punched and sent to the hospital. This original body naturally turned completely west, which made it cheaper for Zhang Weidong, who had traveled here with the same name and surname. Silly pillar, deaf old lady, you two beasts are bullying people too much. This is clearly a combination of attempted rape and intentional homicide. What made Zhang Weidong even more angry was that he was taken to the hospital from yesterday until now after being knocked unconscious by the silly pillar's direct punch. The beasts in the courtyard are doing nothing. No one went to report the case either. What is this? This is simply indulgence and protection. Don't worry, Zhang Weidong also understands. This must be that the deaf old lady, that old beast, and the hypocrite, Yi Zhonghai, intentionally concealed the truth. Threatening the residents in the courtyard. Covering the sky with one hand. This is even more terrifying than the Earth Emperor. It's just damn it. Ding. Detected that the host's anger value has reached 100%, successfully activating the divine level anger value system. Ding. The host has a chance to draw a lottery for beginners. Is it a lottery? Surprisingly, it's the system. Upon hearing the voice of a woman in his mind, Zhang Weidong's figure couldn't help but tremble. A look of ecstasy flashed in my eyes. Lottery. He didn't hesitate at all. Ding. We're currently in a lottery. Ding. Congratulations to the successful host lottery. Get Big White Rabbit Milk Candy X5, Biscuit X3, and Milk X 2100 yuan. Ding. Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward. Liuku Immortal Thief. Infusion. 20%. Host. Zhang Weidong, occupation. First level fitter, skill. Liuku Immortal Thief money. 100 yuan item. Big White Rabbit Milk Candy X5, Biscuit X3, Milk X2 crossing the world. Poultry full courtyard. The mechanical sound falls. Zhang Weidong couldn't help but feel a sense of joy in his heart. In this era, there was a shortage of resources, and a person's rations were only 5 yuan per month. For example, Zhang Weidong worked as a first-level fitter at a steel rolling mill, earning a monthly salary of only 27.5 yuan. Silly Zhu was the head chef of a cafeteria in the factory, earning a monthly salary of about 38 yuan. As for Yi Zhonghai, he is an 8th-level fitter with a monthly salary of 99 yuan. 8th-level fitters are rare in the entire steel rolling mill. And the system directly rewards Zhang Weidong 100 yuan. This is already equivalent to half a year's salary for Zhang Weidong. But having money without tickets is not enough. These days, buying meat requires meat tickets, and buying grain requires grain tickets. So compared, sometimes tickets are equally expensive. But what surprised him even more was the mysterious information that flooded into his mind. Mystery is both profound and profound. This is actually an extremely incredible skill from a previous anime. Liuku Immortal Thief. Also known as Saint Thief, this skill is based on the user's own 6 organs as the basic container. Form a complete digestive system. This kind of digestion is not conventional digestion. But it can directly convert the absorbed substances into the legendary qi, so as to enable users to achieve physical fitness. Even immortality in the end. This is a bit crazy. This system can not only directly exchange materials, but also reach a certain level of anger. You can also exchange for mysterious skills. This is a bit against the odds, but Zhang Weidong likes it. The new book sets sail and is written in my own style, with a courtyard house and a golden finger design that I have my own thoughts on. I apologize for any inconvenience caused. In addition, flowers, review tickets, and monthly tickets are all free. If I don't submit them, I will lose the book issue the next day, which is very fragile. I hope everyone can support me. Thank you, Weidong, for your support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 002, does the deaf old lady lock the door? Directly report to the police and arrest people. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. Congratulations to the host for triggering a special mission, decisively reporting to the police, and punishing the foolish pillar and deaf old lady. Complete the task and receive special rewards. Ding. Congratulations on the 100% fusion of the host Liuku Immortal Thief. Just as Zhang Weidong was immersed in the joy of the system. The mechanical system sounds. Boom. Almost as the mechanical sound fell into an instant. A mysterious energy surged into the mind and body. Zhang Weidong only felt at that moment. I am more proficient in understanding the 6 Treasures Immortal Thief. Perception is also more acute. And the originally weak body miraculously regained some energy. The energy and spirit have also become more abundant. Brother, are you okay? Don't scare me. If you die, what will I do in the future? Woo-woo. Sister Zhang Yu stands in front of Zhang Weidong's hospital bed. When Zhang Weidong woke up, he looked dazed and lost in thought. I couldn't help but feel a little worried. Her eyes turned red and she sobbed. You silly girl, stop crying. Brother won't die. Zhang Weidong sat up from the bed. Looking at the sister in front of me who relies on me for survival. A hint of indulgence flashed in my heart. He raised his hand and rubbed his sister Zhang Yu's head. There is no good airway. Brother, you're okay. It's really great. Silly Zhu and the deaf old lady are so despicable. They all blame me, almost causing trouble for you, brother. Sister Zhang Yu saw that Zhang Weidong was fine. I hugged Zhang Weidong with joy. But soon, she thought of silly Zhu and the deaf old lady. His face was both shocked and angry. Silly girl, how can we blame you for this? If you want to blame it, blame the deaf old lady and those 2 beasts, silly Zhu. This matter must not be left at that. We must report it to the police and let them be punished. Zhang Weidong clearly felt that his previously tired body had regained some energy. Zhang Weidong propped up his body. He walked straight out of the hospital bed. As long as the silly pillars and the deaf old lady are punished, they can receive special rewards. Even if there is no reward, there will still be foolishness and the deaf old lady's actions. Zhang Weidong didn't kill them. He's still passing through a fart, loser. Brother, your body. Zhang Yu couldn't help but feel a shock when she saw Zhang Weidong get out of bed. I'm fine, go handle the discharge procedures and we'll be discharged. By the way, here's the milk candy for you, and there's also this 30 yuan. You can go check how much it costs to be hospitalized later, and keep the rest for use. Zhang Weidong took out the system reward of the unity from his arms. The Tuan gave his sister Zhang Yu 3 pieces of money, and Zhang Weidong gave them directly. There are also the 5 big white rabbit milk candies that the system rewards. Also put it into my sister's hand. Brother, hospitalization doesn't cost that much money. Besides, it's not easy for you to earn money, brother. You'll have to marry a wife in the future. Hospitalization costs about 2 to 3 yuan per day. Zhang Weidong gave Zhang Yu 30 yuan. This is equivalent to 1 month's salary for Zhang Weidong. It is not easy for Zhang Weidong to earn money at work. Zhang Yu was also surprised at once. She shook her head. Silly girl, just hold it for you. You also need to spend money on studying and studying now. My brother still has money, so there's no need to worry about getting married. Seeing my sister Zhang Yu so well behaved and sensible, Zhang Weidong couldn't help but feel a warmth in his heart. I raised my hand and scraped my sister Zhang Yu's little cheong nose. Unable to resist Zhang Weidong, Zhang Yu could only accept the money and big white rabbit milk candy in the end. The circles around the eyes are slightly red. My brother still indulges himself as always. I paid for my medical expenses in the hospital. Zhang Weidong wrote a series of reports with his pen. Go to the street office. Finally, I arrived at the law enforcement office again. Direct alarm. Silly pillar, deaf old lady, if I don't kill you this time, I'll live a lifetime for nothing. This deaf old lady and He Yuzhu are simply unreasonable. When such a thing happened, did the people in your hospital not report it? Chaoyang Law Enforcement Office. When Zhang Weidong brought his sister Zhang Yu to the law enforcement office and allowed the deaf old lady to tolerate silly Zhu bullying his sister, he promptly discovered silly Zhu who was about to commit the crime. I explained to the public security comrades the incident of being violently beaten to shock and hospitalized by silly Zhu after stopping him. The public security comrade's face suddenly darkened. Zhang Weidong's grandfather was a hero during the anti-Japanese war. Zhang Weidong belongs to the family of the martyrs. The foolish pillar committed the crime, and the deaf old lady sheltered and indulged the criminals. This matter is quite a big deal. The strong woman attempted to commit murder intentionally. In these years, no matter which one is occupied, they will be sentenced to death. This property can be imagined, and its impact is extremely severe. But what makes public security personnel even more angry is still. What happened? There was no one reporting to the police in Zhang Weidong's courtyard. What is this? This is cohabitation, this is the crime of shielding. This is a toxic tumor deliberately concealed, damn it. Police officer, this is my hospitalization certificate, as well as the injuries on my body. On the day of the incident, there were still many residents in the hospital who could testify. Only the deaf old lady and the silly pillar, these two beasts, must not be let go. If I hadn't come back in time, my sister wouldn't have imagined the consequences. Zhang Weidong's eyes were burning with anger. He took off his upper clothes. I have bruises and bruises on my body. Clearly, after a violent beating. Just seeing this kind of injury on him. The public security comrade's face instantly turned ugly. Looking at Zhang Yu again, the circles under her eyes were also slightly red. He clenched his fist. How could the families of the martyrs be treated like this? What kind of beasts are the people in this courtyard? These animals are simply a cancer of society, lawless. After understanding the situation with Zhang Weidong, comrades from the public security department didn't talk nonsense either. Quickly call the police. Silly pillar, deaf old lady, if I don't let you die this time, it's in vain for me, Zhang Weidong. P.S. I want to write a fast.paced quadrangle book. It's not just a quadrangle book, it's all about killing, fighting, and everything. Looking at that book that sent silly pillars to jail makes me feel really frustrated. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 003, take a decisive attack, silly pillar deaf old lady has been caught. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Oh, Captain Wang, what wind brought you here? What's going on? So many comrades have come. The front courtyard of a courtyard house. The three elders living in the front yard, Yan Fugue, were playing with flowers and plants at their doorstep as usual. At first glance, he saw Captain Wang from the law enforcement office leading two police officers into the courtyard. I couldn't help but be taken aback. Immediately speak up. Yan Fugue, our law enforcement agency is handling cases, and it's not your turn to intervene yet. Captain Wang heard this. He glanced coldly at the three masters. Upon seeing this, Yan Fugue felt a thump in his heart. Nodding and smiling, it should be. Captain Wang finished a cold sentence and turned to the place where the deaf old lady lived in the middle courtyard. The police suddenly came to the hospital. Did Zhang Weidong and his siblings report the situation to the police? Hey! Look at this situation, that guy Silly Zhu is in trouble. Yesterday, the deaf old lady locked the door. The third master Yan Fugue was not clear, but Zhang Weidong was punched into the hospital by the foolish pillar. Yan Fugue, the third master, is somewhat aware of this matter. However, yesterday's incident was suppressed by an old man named Yi Zhonghai. Yan Fugue did not meddle in his affairs. He's a wallflower. Zhang Weidong has an accident, what's the matter with their family? And this time, Captain Wang and his team arrived at the courtyard. At this moment, it is noon. Just entered the courtyard. I saw Jia Zhang, a fat pig, sitting at the entrance of the yard, collecting the soles of her shoes. That pair of sharp eyes fell on Zhang Weidong's house. He muttered, Zhang Weidong, this bastard, lives in 2 rooms alone. He deserves his parents to die. Silly Zhu, that hammer only made a little food today. Want to starve me to death, old lady? Something like that. But just as she was thinking of continuing to curse. But I saw Captain Wang and the others walking into the courtyard. At first sight, Captain Wang brought 2 police officers into the hospital. Jia Zhang was also startled. What's going on? But I haven't waited for Jia Fipo to react yet. But seeing Captain Wang and the others in the next moment. I saw several people shouting and pulling out Type 64 pistols from their arms. The black barrel of the gun was aimed at the room where the deaf old lady was located. Next up. Step forward with a few people. Under the order of Captain Wang. With a bang. Just kick open the door where the deaf old lady is located. Police, don't move. Upon hearing this battle, Jia Zhang, who was originally wearing the soles of her shoes, was so frightened that she fell and sat on the ground. Who's kicking the old lady at my door, big or small? In the room of the deaf old lady. A middle-aged woman was squatting in front of the Kong, bringing a wash basin for the deaf old lady to wash her feet. But I didn't expect it at this moment. The door was kicked open. A big mom thought it was a meme. Police, don't move. But when they saw Captain Wang and his team holding up Type 64 pistols, they walked in from the door. The dark muzzle was aimed at oneself. When there's a deaf old lady. The old lady was suddenly frightened and her body trembled. She's also a bit confused, what's going on? Public security comrades. What's wrong with you? Why did you kick the old lady's door for no reason? Zhang Weidong and his sister Zhang Yu did not return to the courtyard with Captain Wang and the others. The deaf old lady saw the police come to her door. A horse that has already panicked in its heart. Did she think of yesterday when she locked the door and foolishly shot Zhang Weidong into the hospital? Did the incident happen? Or did Zhang Yu, that little slut, go to the police? Deaf old lady, someone has reported to the police that you sheltered Yi Zhonghai for molesting comrade Zhang Yu, a deceased martyr, and even allowed him to beat comrade Zhang Weidong seriously. Now we suspect that you have committed the crime of sheltering and intentionally harming others. Please follow us to the law enforcement office for investigation. Captain Wang looked serious. The voice is majestic. Comrade Public Security, I'm 80 years old this year, old lady. I haven't done anything wrong. It must be Zhang Weidong and his two little beasts who falsely accused the old lady of me. They have too much resentment in their hearts. You cannot let each other go, you must arrest them and interrogate them properly. The deaf old lady instantly activated the mode of pretending to be deaf and mute. Her eyelids drooped slightly, she relied on her old age to sell. Refuted. Yes, Comrade Public Security, did you make a mistake? The old lady is respected by people on weekdays and is also a 5 guarantees household. She has made shoes for the Red Army, how could she possibly commit a crime? Aunt E would laugh now. Just because you're old doesn't mean you won't commit a crime. Besides, someone in your hospital witnessed what happened yesterday with their own eyes. Everyone is equal before the law. Whether you have committed a crime or not will be discussed after investigation. Catch people. However, the next moment, Captain Wang didn't talk nonsense either. For deaf old ladies who pretend to be deaf and mute. Captain Wang didn't talk nonsense. Directly order 2 public security personnel. In the moment he stepped forward, he took away the deaf old lady who was pretending to be deaf. Let go of me, old lady. I didn't break the law. Why are you arresting people? Let go of me. A big mother is also somewhat aware of what happened yesterday in her heart. Seeing the deaf old lady being taken away. She is already dumbfounded. At the same time, on the cafeteria side of the steel rolling mill. It was noon. There is a continuous stream of workers queuing up in the cafeteria to fetch food. Qin Jie, isn't it good for you to cut in line like this? Su Dumao is holding a lunchbox and waiting for a silly pillar to cook. This will see Qin Huiru holding a lunchbox and inserting it in front of him. There is no good airway. Bang Gung and his team are waiting for sister to have dinner back. Dumao, please let sister join the team. Anyway, she won't suffer any losses. Qin Huiru cast a seductive glance at Su Dumao. Approaching Su Dumao. You're right, who made you my sister? Su Dumao felt itchy and placed his hand on Qin Huiru's fair shoulder. He said. Su Dumao, don't go too far, kid. Get your dog's paws off me. Silly Zhu is causing trouble because of yesterday's incident of knocking Zhang Weidong into the hospital. This meeting saw Su Dumao taking advantage of his goddess. Suddenly angry. The spatula in his hand gave a hard tap. Silly Zhu, I'm talking to Sister Qin about something. Can you manage it? Son thief. Seeing Su Dumao continue to take advantage of the Qinhuai region. Silly Zhu is annoyed. Roll up your sleeves and fight against Su Dumao. Who is what rain pillar? At this moment. 2 police officers walked into the cafeteria. Speak up. What's going on? Did Silly Zhu make a mistake? Who knows? Shouldn't it be something bad done? Seeing 2 police officers appear, the workers eating immediately began to discuss. I am 2 police officers. Do you have anything to do with me? I saw 2 police officers looking for me. Silly Zhu suddenly felt anxious in his heart. But a smile still appeared on his face, pretending to be calm. Someone has reported that you are suspected of molestation and intentional homicide. Please come back with us and cooperate with the investigation. That police station. Obscene. Intentional homicide. Wow. Almost in an instant when two police officers spoke. The entire cafeteria instantly quieted down. You can smell the needle falling. And Qin Huairu, who was informed, changed his face even more. Something big happened. P.S. Has anyone watched this theme? I hope everyone likes it and provides more support. If you have any suggestions, you can leave a message in the comments section, and the author will solve it immediately. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 004, Yi Zhonghai is numb, my retirement plan is about to fall through. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Two public security comrades, do you have any misunderstandings? I'm He Yuzhu, honest and upright, but I haven't done anything. See two police officers coming to find me. Silly Zhu is also a panicked horse in his heart. But still pretending to be calm. It's up to you the final say whether there is a crime. People have already called the police. Now please follow us back to the police station for investigation. Seeing Silly Zhu still forcefully explaining here. The two police officers didn't talk nonsense either. Go straight ahead and catch someone. Wow. Something really happened, Master has been arrested. What exactly did Silly Zhu do? Even the police came knocking on him. I guess it's a mistake. What trouble did it cause? Ma Hua is the disciple of Silly Zhu. Lu Lan is a helper in the cafeteria. The foolish pillar was taken away, and everyone looked strange. It's troublesome now. Hey, Silly Zhu has been punished. Su Damao saw Silly Pillar being taken away. I was pleasantly surprised in an instant. Qin Huairu's face was very ugly, troublesome. She naturally understood yesterday's foolish incident. Have some understanding. What? You said Silly Zhu was taken away. Grandpa, according to the public security statement, it seems that Zhang Weidong reported to the police. Rolling Mill, First Workshop. When Qin Huairu told Yi Zhonghai about the news of Silly Pillar being taken away by the police, Yi Zhonghai's face changed. How could this be? Zhang Weidong's injury was so serious yesterday, and he is probably still in bed. How could he go to the police? It should be his sister Zhang Yu. What should we do now? Qin Huairu was also panicked. It's not that she has anything to do with Silly Zhu, but if something really happens to Silly Zhu, who will help their orphaned and widowed mother in the future? Who gave her a lunchbox? There is no lunchbox and Silly Pillar's assistance. Her family's life is definitely not easy. Hurry back to the yard and discuss with the old lady. I will come up with a solution. If it's really Zhang Weidong and his siblings reporting to the police, then we must find a way to have them withdraw the case. I hope things are not as bad as I think. Yi Zhonghai has a bad premonition in his heart. The deaf old lady was taken away. How could this be? How could it be impossible? The Public Security Department has come to the courtyard and said that the deaf old lady and Silly Pillar are suspected of intentional homicide. Yesterday, there was such a big commotion in the middle courtyard, so it should be true. Silly Zhu was arrested. Just now, the police went to the factory to arrest someone. Really? Is there a good show to watch now? The deaf old lady was caught by the police and has been circulating in the yard. And when other residents of the courtyard who work at the steel rolling mill return, take Silly Zhu away by the police for questioning. The courtyard was shocked and exploded. Is this really annoying? Grandpa, you've come back. The deaf old lady was arrested by the police, and I heard that Silly Zhu was also taken away for questioning by the police. Is it really fake? When Yi Zhonghai and Qin Huai rushed back to the courtyard like fire. A resident approached and asked. What? The old lady was also arrested. I heard that the deaf old lady was taken away. Yi Zhonghai's face changed once again. Which unethical thing reported this to the police? Is it that someone in the hospital called the police? Yeah, I heard from the police that someone called the police. It should be Zhang Weidong's siblings. That person. Oh no. What should he do, Grandpa? The old lady's face was somewhat worried. The incident between Silly Zhu and the old lady yesterday must not be exposed, otherwise how will Silly Zhu behave in the future? The old lady's body is even more unbearable. Silly Zhu is his own choice for retirement. And the deaf old lady is Mount Taishan in the courtyard. How can Yi Zhonghai tolerate accidents? What can I do now, that old man? Qin Huiru was also panicked. She said. I will go to the hospital now to find Zhang Weidong and his siblings. If they really report to the police, they will compensate if they need to, and we will make them withdraw the case no matter what. Yi Zhonghai wrote. Now it can only be like this. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X99 from the deaf old lady, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X98 from Silly Pillar, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X99 from Yi Zhonghai, anger value 1089. Reminder. When the anger level reaches 100, the host can receive one chance to draw a prize. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing a special mission. In the face of the treachery and misconduct of the deaf old lady and Silly Pillar, you take a decisive action and report to the police directly. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the mission and receiving a special reward. Gene Enhancement Potion X1. Do you want to use it? Zhang Weidong is walking on the street with his sister Zhang Yu. Coincidentally, this meeting. The mechanical system sounds. He couldn't help but feel a joy in his heart. Choose to use directly. Accompanied by his commands. Boom. Almost at that moment, a surge of energy surged into the body. The blood in the body instantly accelerated its flow, and the whole body became hot. As his blood accelerated, his skin and muscles became finer and stronger in this tempering process. My whole body muscles have become like lumps, and my facial features have become more angular and distinct. In an instant, he felt a significant increase in physical strength and a sharper sensation than usual. The slightest wind and grass movement around seems to be clearly felt. I didn't expect that the reward for this mission would be a genetic enhancement potion, and just this benefit would quickly restore my body. If there were other rewards, how would my strength be? After integrating gene enhancers, Zhang Weidong. The injuries on his body were rapidly recovering at a strange speed. And now I feel my body. Even stronger than before, like a cow. He has complete confidence. Even if it were the Silly Pillar of the war god in the quadrangle, he could completely crush this guy. This is just sending the deaf old lady and Silly Pillar in, there are so many rich rewards. What if we give it to someone else? Think of it here. Zhang Weidong immediately smiled. Zhang Weidong is in a very good mood. Host, lucky draw. Seeing that the anger value has reached 1000, I don't need to think about it. I guess I should have called the police myself. Public security comrades are awesome. Zhang Weidong felt a wave of relief in his heart and directly chose the lottery. Ding. The lottery is starting, 10 consecutive draws. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the grain ticket, 1 caddy, x 4-inch, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a meat ticket, 1 pound, x 5-inch, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the military fist fighting skill card x 1-inch in the blink of an eye. The lottery is over. In addition to food stamps, there are also meat stamps, and what surprised Zhang Weidong was the military martial arts combat skill card. Do you use the military fist skill card? Use. Zhang Weidong rode. Almost as the command fell, a surge of information rushed into Zhang Weidong's mind in an instant. As if at this moment, Zhang Weidong is a combat soldier who has become proficient in military martial arts countless times. Just by drawing a lottery, one can obtain proficiency in military martial arts skills. This is simply comfortable. Zhang Weidong couldn't help but brighten his eyes. Brother, should we go home now or not? Zhang Yu looked at her brother Zhang Weidong. Speaking of going home, there was a clear sense of fear in her eyes. With my brother here, I will never let those beasts bully Xiaoya again in the future. Let's go buy meat and have meat tonight. Eating meat. That would cost a lot of money, brother. Why don't we just forget about it? Zhang Yu heard that Zhang Weidong was going to buy meat. I suddenly felt a bit heartbroken. There is a shortage of supplies these days. How could it be made like this? Silly girl, you. Seeing my younger sister so sensible, Zhang Weidong couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Although I have traveled through time, my younger sister Zhang Yu's affection for me is still strong. But it warmed Zhang Weidong's heart. This silly girl is really P.S. Is anyone there? Some people are watching me directly on this topic. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 005, Zhang Weidong discharged. Why don't you die? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Weidong, have you been discharged from the hospital? Siheyuan, front yard. Sandiyi Yan Fugui is a primary school Chinese teacher who is preparing to teach in primary school. At first sight, Zhang Weidong and his sister Zhang Yu returned. He was still carrying a hanging of meat and other miscellaneous items in his hand. His eyes lit up instantly. However, what shocked Zhang Weidong even more was that he did not have a conflict with silly Zhu yesterday. Was he sent to the hospital? How could this be discharged from the hospital? What's going on? I'm hospitalized, and you don't even care about Yan Laosan. Now that I'm discharged, it seems like you're really concerned. Seeing Yan Fugui as a wall grass. Zhang Weidong is completely unattractive. This person is a typical wallflower, claiming that if they don't calculate well, they will suffer poverty, and they have a clever calculation. Yesterday, there was such a big conflict between my sister, myself, silly Zhu, and the deaf old lady. Yan Fugui's family is like nothing happened. And it used to be the same before. Zhang Weidong's mother had more than one conflict with the Jia family and an old man. Yan Fugui not only did not dissuade, but also said that Zhang Weidong's family was not. That's all, this so-called three masters are just dog shit. Zhang Weidong, you're too disrespectful. You're neither big nor small. Do you understand how to respect your elders? Third master, I care about you now and you still hold grudges against me. Yan Fugui was both anxious and angry. Some people deserve my respect, but not including you, Yan Laosan. Zhang Weidong gave Yan Fugui a cold glance. With a snort, he pulled his sister Zhang Yu straight to the courtyard. You bastard, you're just a jerk. It's really outrageous. Yan Fugui loves face the most. He didn't expect Zhang Weidong to be so disrespectful. Where did this make him lose face? How could this little beast not have been directly killed by the silly pillar? I deserve to die for my parents. Isn't this Zhang Weidong? Isn't he hospitalized again? How did he get discharged? Oh no, it seems that the old lady and silly pillar have been reported to the police and arrested. It should be Zhang Weidong's siblings who did it. Their siblings have returned, there's a good show to watch now. Other residents of the courtyard house. Upon seeing Zhang Weidong's siblings return, Isn't it a bit surprising? Everyone began to discuss. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X89 from Yan Fugue, entering the courtyard. The sound of mechanical system prompt spreads in the mind. Zhang Weidong couldn't help but move his expression. I feel a bit contemptuous in my heart. But more importantly, it's satisfying. The so-called called 3 masters of a courtyard house. Whether it's the moral deity Yi Zhonghai, the official fan Xu Huizhen, or the abacus expert Yan Fugue. It's a typical beast. Why is it worth his respect from Zhang Weidong? Brother, you're amazing. Zhang Weidong used to have a relatively honest personality. But rarely is it as rigid as it is now. Seeing the usually high and mighty 3 masters also eating their food in front of their brothers. Sister Zhang Yu looked at Zhang Weidong as if looking at stars. Of course, who am I, your brother? That must be the most powerful. Come on, brother, go home and make braised pork belly for you. Zhang Weidong scraped his sister Zhang Yu's cheong nose. My heart felt a wave of relief. All the grievances, get out of here. This public security department is really good. If you want to catch a deaf old lady, you can catch her. Anyway, that old lady is so old, maybe she will die one day. But if that fool Zhu gets sued, who will help our family in the future? Without silly Zhu's lunchbox, if I were to starve my good grandson Bang Ji and make him unable to grow, I wouldn't be able to spare silly Zhu that idiot. At the same time, the Jia family in the middle courtyard. As soon as Qin Huai returned, he naturally told Jia Zhang about the incident where silly Zhu was taken away by the police in the factory. However, what left Qin Huai speechless was that Jia and Zhang learned about it. But he cursed angrily. Mom, silly Zhu has been arrested now, please be quiet. Qin Huai is like a road. Pop. Qin Huairu, what are you talking about, you slut? I'll tell you, that silly pillar is just a fool. He was arrested immediately, and didn't care at all about our family. You'd better not get distracted. Jia Zhang's plump face trembled with fat. She is gnawing on the nest head. Upon hearing Qin Huai's words, her face twitched. The chopsticks in my hand slammed fiercely on the table. Staring at Qin Huai like a glance. Sigh. Qin Huai couldn't help but sigh when he saw this. Zhang Weidong. At this moment, Qin Huairu saw Zhang Weidong and his sister Zhang Yu walking into the yard. She thought she was mistaken. But upon closer inspection, she found that it was indeed their siblings, and she was stunned. Zhang Weidong, you just think about Zhang Weidong. That little beast has been beaten to the hospital by a foolish pillar, probably losing half of his life. What are you thinking, you naughty hoof? Jia Zhang frowned. Her face suddenly pulled down. Mom, it's a bad thing. This time, silly Zhu and the deaf old lady are in trouble. It's Zhang Weidong and his sister who have returned. Qin Huai's face looked a bit ugly. Jia Zhang was taken aback and quickly looked over. Just when she saw Zhang Weidong pulling his sister Zhang Yu into the hospital. She also had a surprised expression on her face. How could this be possible? Yesterday, the person was still carried horizontally from the courtyard. Why are you doing well now? What the hell are you doing? No, we need to go and talk to an old man quickly. Qin Huai couldn't sit still. Sit down for me, it's none of our business, you stay out of it. Jia Zhang grabbed Qin Huairu with one hand. He gave her a fierce glare. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X89 from Jia Zhang's family, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X93 from Qin Huairu, anger value. 342 Zhang Weidong and his sister Zhang Yu are entering the yard. A voice rang in my mind. Upon hearing this sound, Zhang Weidong couldn't help but look towards the Jia family in the middle courtyard. The door is tightly closed. But I happen to see Jia Zhang and Qin Huiru secretly peeking through the window gap at this moment. Since the body was modified by genetic enhancement drugs and the Six Treasures Immortal Thief. At this moment, Zhang Weidong's six senses are sharp and sensitive. Just after discovering it was them. But in my heart, I sneered. Anger, beast. The more angry you are, the more excited Zhang Weidong becomes. There is a way to clean up for you. Zhang Weidong, is that you? An old man, Yi Zhonghai, just purchased some fruits from the supply and marketing cooperative and packaged some compensation money for Zhang Weidong with a letter. I'm about to go back to the yard and say something to an old lady. I need to go to the hospital to visit Zhang Weidong. Is Zhang Weidong unconscious or awake? Firstly, if Zhang Weidong is unconscious, either his sister Zhang Yu will report to the police, and Yi Zhonghai has a way to deal with it. Secondly, if it is not Zhang Weidong who reported to the police, then it should be the residents in the courtyard. In this way, he must effectively suppress these people. However, when he saw Zhang Weidong, a living man, standing in the courtyard, everything completely caught him off guard. How could this be possible? He was both surprised and angry. P.S. In the 20s, we should do what we say. In the effort code, awesome, flowers and monthly tickets are not used on the first day, and they will be gone the next day. Let's support you. The strong Wei Dong would like to thank you for your support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 006, slapping an old man, he's almost turning into a pig's head. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X89 from Yi Zhonghai, the murderer who harmed my parents back then hasn't died yet, how could I be in trouble? I, Zhang Weidong, still want to see that old beast die with my own eyes. Hear mechanical sounds in your mind. See Yi Zhonghai, this old beast. Zhang Weidong's face was somewhat indifferent. The reason why Zhang Weidong's mother Qin Sume has had a strained relationship with Yi Zhonghai's aunt in recent years. That is to suspect that Zhang Weidong's father's accident 5 years ago was related to this old beast, Yi Zhonghai. Because at the time of the accident, Yi Zhonghai was nearby, and over the years, the relationship between Zhang Weidong's father Zhang Jianguo and Yi Zhonghai is not very hot. Even because both of them are level 6 fitters, there have been many disagreements. On the day of the incident, there were numerous doubts. As for last year, Qin Sume's mother had a big argument with an elderly woman and committed suicide by taking poison. Zhang Weidong didn't have any hatred in his heart, it was fake. Zhang Weidong, you can eat randomly, but you can't talk nonsense. I was also saddened when your father died, but it was just an accident. Since you're okay this time, I happen to ask you, silly Zhu and the old lady were arrested by the police. Did you report them to the police? It's all from the neighbors, so there's no need to make such a big fuss. If there's something to do, just settle it in the courtyard. This is my intention. I bought some fruit and I will pay you some money. Yi Zhonghai naturally understood the meaning in Zhang Weidong's words. His face changed, and the last thing he wanted to mention was the death of Zhang Weidong's parents, which was too taboo. He said, just hand the newly purchased fruit and the envelope containing the money to Zhang Weidong. There is a full 100 yuan in that envelope. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a rage value of X90 from Yi Zhonghai, old thing. Speaking of sadness, but feeling angry in the heart. What are you? It's not your turn to pity our parents' death, and now, with your fruits and stinky money, get out of here. Zhang Weidong saw the situation. But he threw away the fruit that Yi Zhonghai handed him directly. Old beast. Want to reconcile? There are no doors. My younger sister was almost bullied by the silly pillar. Does this old beast have the face to reconcile? Mad, I'll give you face. Zhang Weidong, you're such a jerk. I'm an old man. Do you still have me in your eyes? I've said it all, there's no need to escalate the situation. If it's okay, I'll have stupid Zhu kowtow and apologize for you when he comes out, okay? I'll compensate you a little more money. You. Pop. No shame. Bastard thing. I haven't waited for Yi Zhonghai to finish speaking yet. Zhang Weidong raised his hand directly. Give Yi Zhonghai a hard slap on the face. The old face of Yi Zhonghai was only swollen in the blink of an eye. The power of a slap is immense. Leng simply slapped Yi Zhonghai, an old dog, and threw him onto the ground. Zhang Weidong, you're being reckless. The old man never expected that Zhang Weidong would dare to directly attack him. He is an 8th level fitter in a quadrangle. The most prestigious gentleman. How dare Zhang Weidong dare to be so arrogant? Sister Zhang Yu stood on the side, her eyes also turning red with anger as she was also kidnapped by the shameless morality of Yi Zhonghai, an old dog. But when she saw her brother Zhang Weidong slapping an old man named Yi Zhonghai directly, Zhang Yu was dumbfounded. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X93 from Yi Zhonghai, ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X98 from Yi Zhonghai, anger value 868, pop. Pop. Pop pop pop. I'm reckless, I'm really reckless. You old beast openly sheltered the murderer and wanted me to withdraw the case. What's your heart, you old dog? Pop pop pop. Just you, a hypocrite with a dignified appearance and an old household. How have you been bullying me and my mother in private these years, spreading rumors about our family? Do you think I don't even know? Pop pop pop. Do you think you can hide from others about how you killed my father back then, and can you hide from me? The more Zhang Weidong spoke, the greater the anger in his heart. I haven't waited for Grandpa Yi Zhonghai to stand up yet. Bow from left to right. One slap after another, fiercely hitting an old man named Yi Zhonghai in the face. This old dog is hypocritical, thinking that he is the same Zhang Weidong who used to be bullied by others. Little did he know that he had offended the wrong person today. He is no longer the weak Zhang Weidong he used to be. Loud applause kept ringing in the courtyard. So, a strange scene happened. When the third uncle Yan Fugue and his family heard the commotion, as well as the second uncle Lu Hai and others rushed to the courtyard. I was stunned by this battle. Zhang Weidong was unexpectedly discharged from the hospital. And it's also so strong. This is an old man. Seeing an old man being taken care of one after another with a big mouth. The third and second masters are all dumbfounded now. Similarly, Su Damao, Qin Huairu, and Lu Xiaoyi were equally stunned. Lying trough. Lying trough. So ruthless. It's all his mother pig's head. Zhang Weidong, you bastard, dare you hit me? In front of everyone in the hospital being wildly bullied by Zhang Weidong. Yi Zhonghai is an old man. This time, he has completely lost face and thrown himself into his grandmother's house. There is no need to think that his authority in the courtyard will be most seriously challenged in the future. He was furious and completely lost his previous posture. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X99 from Yi Zhonghai, anger value 967, pop. But before Yi Lao Go could finish speaking, he was horrified to find that a big pussy-like fan fiercely greeted him. The whole person was pulled to the spot and thrown out. He was completely confused. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X99 from Yi Zhonghai, ding! Congratulations to the host for meeting the 10 consecutive draw conditions. Do you want to draw a prize? Almost at the moment when Zhang Weidong pulled Yi Lao Go away. The mechanical system sounds. Zhang Weidong's eyes suddenly lit up. Nice. Nonsense, give me a hard hit. P.S. It's really enjoyable and comfortable to write, but it's better to write it yourself and watch others write it, feeling frustrated. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 007, second wave of injury, Yi Zhonghai is suspected of murder and is. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully winning the Chocolate X3 lottery. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining White Radish X 5-inch. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a bicycle ticket X 1-inch. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Junior Cooking Mastery Card X 1-inch. Do you use a beginner's culinary proficiency card? Use. Zhang Weidong did not hesitate. Almost at the moment the command was issued. A surge of information rushed directly into Zhang Weidong's mind. It's just a blink of an eye. Zhang Weidong instantly integrated. It seems like I have become familiar with it countless times, including basic knife skills, cooking, cutting, and so on. Proficient in 1x1. Host. Zhang Weidong, occupation. First level fitter, skills. Military fist, Liuku Immortal Thief, junior cooking skills, money. 70 item. Chocolate X3, White Radish X5, Bicycle Ticket X1, Grain Ticket, 1 Caddy, X3 Crossing the World. Poultry Full Courtyard. Although it's just a proficiency card for home-cooked dishes, this reward is also good. For the rewards of this system, Zhang Weidong feels very satisfied. I can use it later to try my skills. What's going on? Just as Zhang Weidong was immersed in the joy of system rewards, I saw Captain Wang, who had originally left the courtyard, enter the courtyard with 2 police officers. After seeing a group of people gathered in the courtyard, he furrowed his brow slightly. Captain Wang, you came just in time. Zhang Weidong intentionally injured someone, so hurry up and catch him. An old man got up from the ground. When I saw Captain Wang coming, he suddenly saw a savior. Hurry up and say to Captain Wang. Zhang Weidong, it's not second grandpa. I'm talking about you. I know you have objections to first grandpa, but at least you can just say a few words. Why bother? Now it's okay, Captain Wang is here. You've caused a stir in this matter, and we're all in a mess in our courtyard. The timing of meeting the second uncle's bangs is similar. This will come out with a big belly. Taught Zhang Weidong. And the third master also said Zhang Weidong at this meeting. It's too outrageous. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X88 from the bangs. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X83 from Yan Fugue. Captain Wang, you came just in time. Seeing that Captain Wang has arrived, Zhang Weidong didn't talk nonsense either. Watching Yi Zhonghai and Xu Huizhen sing opera. But in my heart, I sneered. I explained the whole story of what happened just now. The more he listened, Captain Wang's face became increasingly ugly. They can testify to the background of this matter. Captain Wang, our husband and wife, can testify. One of the elders said he wants Zhang Weidong to write a letter of understanding and then go to the law enforcement office to protect the deaf old lady and the silly pillars. As a result, Zhang Weidong didn't agree, and Uncle Yi became unhappy. Su Damao jumped out, feeling happy to make an old man feel uncomfortable. Hurriedly explained. Su Damao, what are you talking nonsense about? Seeing Su Damao, this troublemaker, jump out, Yi Zhonghai's face instantly turned ugly. Grandpa, I haven't wronged you. What did silly Zhu and the deaf old lady do to Zhang Weidong's siblings yesterday? You can just cover up for silly Zhu, but now you dare not admit it. Su Damao and Silly Zhu are enemies. Over the years, Yi Zhonghai and the deaf old lady have been favoring Silly Zhu and suppressing themselves. Su Damao naturally didn't want Silly Pillar to be released. Seizing the opportunity, he is a real villain. Su Damao, you bastard. Yi Zhonghai's face changed. Su Damao is simply damn it. Yi Zhonghai, we have received a report that someone reported you intentionally killing someone 5 years ago, which is related to the death case of Zhang Jianguo at the steel rolling mill. Please follow us to the police station for investigation. Yi Zhonghai hasn't finished speaking yet. Captain Wang's next words made everyone present feel suffocated. Wang team, Yi Zhonghai, am an 8th level fitter at a steel rolling mill and have never committed any wrongdoing. Your actions are a bit excessive, right? Besides, Zhang Jianguo's death back then was an accident, and he didn't have any contact with me, did he? I saw myself being handcuffed. Mr. Yi is also dumbfounded. I'm not even sure why this happened. Captain Wang gave the old man a cold glance. The deaf old lady also committed the crime of Silly Pillar, and you are also suspected of the crime of shielding. Do we wrongly accuse you? We will naturally understand when the results come out. Captain Wang finished speaking. No nonsense. Directly have 2 police officers take down Yi Zhonghai. Unexpectedly, an old man was also arrested. Zhang Weidong's sister doesn't have the courage. It seems that it should be Zhang Weidong. This kid is really tough. Is this trying to clean up the entire yard of people who have offended him? Silly Zhu and the deaf old lady were caught. And now the most authoritative man, Yi Zhonghai, has also been arrested. The entire quadrangle is completely chaotic. It's too outrageous. I can't handle this matter, it's none of my business. Let's go. The center of the second uncle's bangs is also a bit panicked. Hurry and leave in a daze. It's too outrageous. The third master cursed, but it was also a lucky escape. It's really tough. Watching an old man be taken away. Qin Huai couldn't help but have a slightly unpleasant expression on his face. She looked at Zhang Weidong and gritted her teeth. He walked up straight and said, Weidong, yesterday Silly Zhu and the deaf old lady did indeed go too far, but after all, Grandpa One is an elder. You even beat him, so it's not difficult for Grandpa One, is it? After speaking, he deliberately lowered his body. Expose a pair of big bears and 2 big bears. It is indeed very white and looks quite round. But Zhang Weidong doesn't eat this kind of thing at all. Pop. No nonsense. Directly slapping Qin Huairu hard on the face. Everyone was immersed in the shock of being taken away by the law enforcement officers by the foolish pillar and an old man. At first, I heard the loud slapping sound. I was startled. Zhang Weidong, you hit me. Qin Huai is like a pair of big eyes with tears in their eyes. I never expected Zhang Weidong to remain silent. Surprisingly, he just gave her a big comparison pocket. She was confused. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X97 from Qin Huairu. Qin Huairu, put your mind away. I'm sick of you hooking up with those people in the factory. Your way of doing things is just foolishly eating your way. Zhang Weidong stopped, with a look of disgust in his eyes. Zhang Weidong, don't talk nonsense. Qin Huai was once said by Zhang Weidong. I suddenly felt a bit anxious. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X98 from Qin Huairu. Zhang Weidong, you son of a bitch, you're bullying our Jia family, right? You dare to talk nonsense, I'll tear your mouth apart. Jia Feizhu is usually cunning and harsh. Not only is he lazy, but he also loves face very much. During this meeting, Zhang Weidong said that the Qin Huai River was like waves. She was so angry that her fat was all over her body. Go straight up. I want to tear Zhang Weidong apart. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X99 from Jia Zhang's family. Don't bully my brother. Zhang Yu saw that Jia Zhang was going to bully Zhang Weidong, and she immediately looked very angry. Stand in front of Zhang Weidong. 008, you owe me everything, spit it out. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Even the god of war in the courtyard, the silly pillar, has an old man named Yi Zhonghai. I also suffered losses here with Zhang Weidong just now. How could Zhang Weidong let them bully his sister again? Seeing Jia Zhang raise her hand and hit her sister, Zhang Weidong's pupils suddenly shrank. He let out a cold snort. Without saying a word, pulled the younger sister behind her and slapped Jia Zhang's face directly. Strengthen the body through genetic enhancers. The force of Zhang Weidong's slap was terrifying. With just a slap, Jia Zhang was struck and let out a pig-like scream. A golem fell directly onto the ground. Oh my, there's nothing raised by my parents. You bullied our old Jia family and our orphans and widows. I won't live anymore. I'm going to die, I'm not going to live anymore, Zhang Weidong. I'll fight with you. Jia Zhang let out a heart-wrenching scream. Start to unleash her overbearing and unreasonable nature. She rushed up in one go. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X97 from Jia Zhang's family, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X96 from Qin Huiru, get lost. Will Zhang Weidong get used to Jia Zhang's personality? A cold light flashed in his eyes. I kicked it directly over. In the eyes of the second and third masters Yan Fugue and Su Damao, they were stunned. Jia Zhang, who was overweight, was kicked hard and fell to sit on the ground. Zhang Weidong, you little beast, you. Pop. Jia Zhang has a cheap mouth and still wants to continue cursing. Zhang Weidong appeared in front of her. Raising your hand is like a big pocket. Take good care of Jia Zhang's family. Zhang Wei. Pop. However, it was another big challenge. Miscellaneous. Pop. You. Pop pop. Pop pop pop. Jia Zhang shed tears. Damn it, I haven't finished speaking yet. Why are you just such a big pussy? Qin Hui was so scared and foolish. She didn't dare to step forward at all when she saw Zhang Weidong cleaning up Jia and Zhang. Lu Xiao and Yuli saw Zhang Weidong take action to deal with Jia and Zhang. There was also a flash of surprise in my eyes. And her younger sister Zhang Yu was also dumbfounded at this moment. When did my brother become so powerful? Zhang Weidong has really changed, perhaps because he has been holding it in his heart for too long these years. This time, he can't help but burst out. Over the years, the Jia family has also had an old man and a deaf old lady named Silly Zhu, who have excluded Zhang Weidong, his sister, and their mother. In order to obtain 2 houses in Zhang Weidong's family. It can be said that everything is done to the extreme. Jia Zhang's family even resorted to multiple moral kidnappings. He also secretly spread rumors that Zhang Weidong's mother has a man outside. Zhang Weidong's mother was quite infuriated by the gossip of her neighbors. Just these alone are enough to make Jia Zhang die 10,000 times. Zhang Weidong is no longer the same as before. Faced with the arrogance of the Jia and Zhang families, I threw a big bag up again. At this moment, Jia Zhang's entire face had been beaten to a pig's head, with a blue nose and swollen face, which was quite tragic. Did I give you face? Do you think you've been spreading rumors about my mother in private these years and trying every means to drive me and my mother away? I don't know. Fatty old lady, did I give you face? Can you tear it apart again? Let you bully my sister, let you bully. Pop pop pop. Bow from left to right. Zhang Weidong didn't hesitate at all and gave a big meal to output. Jia Zhang's tears ran down her face. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X99 from Jia Zhang's family, the second eldest among the Bangs and the third eldest dare not step forward at all. Seeing this kind of battle was also a shock. It's really crazy. Over the years, you have gradually borrowed more than 50 yuan from our family, as well as food and meat coupons, and spit them out for me. Zhang Weidong suddenly remembered. Previously, Jia Dongxiu, the son of Jia Zhang, died. Jia Zhang borrowed money from his mother Qin Sumei and also had food and meat tickets. At that time, it seemed that the Jia family was indeed a bit miserable. Qin Sumei also borrowed it. But unexpectedly, later Qin Huairu went to the steel rolling mill to take over her husband Jia Dongxiu's position. However, Jia Zhang never mentioned the matter of repaying the money again. And Qin Sumei went to ask Jia Zhang for money. Jia Zhang, however, shamelessly said that he had no money. Therefore, Qin Sumei had a lot of unpleasantness with Jia Zhang. Give me back everything you owe me. Zhang Weidong, you're talking nonsense. Our family didn't borrow money from your family. Don't talk nonsense. Jia and Zhang heard that Zhang Weidong wanted money. She immediately panicked. Even if he was beaten by Zhang Weidong and his face turned blue and swollen. He crawled up with a gulp. Refuted. Jia Zhang, how can you deny it? It's clear that you borrowed money from our family. Zhang Yu saw Jia Zhang playing tricks, and she immediately felt unhappy. Jia Pazi, we can testify that you have borrowed money from Zhang Weidong's family over the years but haven't repaid it. You'd better return the money to Zhang Weidong. Lu Xiaoa can't bear to watch anymore. She spoke up. Zhang Weidong saw Lu Xiaoa speak up. I couldn't help but feel a bit surprised. My impression of Lu Xiaoyi is quite good, if the people in this hospital say that her values are considered normal. So Lu Xiaoa and Yuli belong to the more normal kind. It's just a pity that what Lu Xiaoa entrusted was not human. Married Su Damao, who had sores on his head and pus on his feet. Lu Xiaoa, don't talk nonsense. Where do I owe Zhang Weidong's family? Pop. Ask Jia Zhang to take the money back to Zhang Weidong's family. It's almost like killing Jia Zhang. I will see Lu Xiaoa speak for Zhang Weidong again. Jia Zhang suddenly became furious. She pointed at Lu Xiaoa and cursed loudly. However, it was not yet until Jia Zhang finished speaking. She saw in horror. A big bag came straight towards her. Then, when she saw Zhang Weidong's face, she was completely panicked. Can't I still? If it goes down at all, I'm going to die. Jia Zhang was completely afraid, even though she was shameless, when facing the now murderous Zhang Weidong. It's still not enough to watch. Seeing this scene, everyone looked at each other. Qin Huai's face turned red and swollen, and she gritted her teeth as she looked at Zhang Weidong, who refused to let in oil and salt. However, her heart was filled with hatred. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X98 from Qin Huairu, ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X99 from Jia Zhang's family, angry. The more angry I am, the more satisfied I am. It has to be said that Qin Huai is like a widow, but it is well maintained, but for Zhang Weidong. Traveling through time, he has not yet become so lowly as to demand second-hand goods. Isn't a single blood fragrant? Zhang Weidong is very satisfied, but on the other side. The foolish pillars who were taken back to the police station for investigation were unhappy. I am still very unhappy. 009, silly pillar suspended from work, deaf old lady detained and numb. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He usually might as well truthfully explain it, right? Chaoyang Police Station. Interrogation room. The public security comrade looked at the silly pillar with a somewhat serious expression. Comrade public security, I don't know what you're talking about. I did have a conflict with Zhang Weidong yesterday, but I didn't beat him seriously. As for what you said about me molesting Zhang Weidong's sister Zhang Yu and intentionally killing someone, I don't have that. Silly Zhu's heart was actually flustered. I don't know how many times I have greeted Zhang Weidong's ancestors for 18 generations. In the face of interrogation by the public security, he would never admit to committing the crime of hooliganism or intentional homicide. If admitted, in this era, people would directly eat peanuts. Don't take it by chance. If you don't admit it now, we will also find out. In front of the law, we don't allow moths to exist. That police station. You can check it out, but I, Yi Zhonghai, have a clear conscience. If you don't believe me, you can go to the factory in Courtyard to ask. Silly pillar pretends to be calm and indifferent. If there's nothing else to ask, can I go now? I still need to handle it in the cafeteria of the factory. If it weren't for me, the cafeteria workers wouldn't be able to eat good food, which would be bad for us workers. Let's go. Who said you were allowed to leave? Yi Zhonghai, don't think you can't turn the steel mill cafeteria without it. Who do you think you are? We would like to formally inform you that you have been suspended from work and will be detained. You are not allowed to leave here until the case is investigated and cleared of suspicion. Another police officer sneered. What? Suspension. Detention. No, comrades, there's no need to make it so serious, right? Silly Zhu is really foolish this time. He never expected it to be so serious. There's no need to make it so serious. Two police officers heard this. But there was a cold snort in my heart. In this era, the handling of hooligans is very strict. Once convicted of hooliganism, you will be a stain for life. And someone like Silly Pillar who committed hooliganism and intentionally injured others. Intentionally injuring someone later will result in a sentence of more than 10 years. And the crime of hooliganism, combined, can directly lead to the execution of the foolish pillar. Seeing that Silly Zhu refused to admit it, the two police officers didn't say anything and directly took the person to the detention center. Deaf old lady, have you made up your mind? If you admit it now, we can reduce your sentence. On the other side. Inquire indoors. A female police officer is interrogating an elderly deaf woman. Comrade public security, what do I admit? I don't know anything. The deaf old lady pretended to be deaf and mute. The female police officer's face immediately became serious upon hearing the words. You encouraged Silly Zhu to molest the sister of Zhang Weidong, the survivor of the martyr, and even allowed Silly Zhu to intentionally harm others, beating Zhang Weidong into a serious injury and hospitalization, she said, encouraging others. You have already committed the crime of instigation, and you have also indulged foolish pillars in harming others. This is the crime of shielding. For these two items, you will be sentenced to imprisonment of not less than 3 years but not more than 10 years. Nonsense, I'm already 80 years old. In our yard, everyone knows that my old lady is highly respected. How could I possibly harm those two children, Zhang Weidong? Those two children must have lost their heads, that's why they said that. The deaf old lady heard this. Bite your teeth in anger. I am actually extremely anxious in my heart. But he still pretended to be calm and showed a kind expression. Before the law, everyone is equal. Even if you are 80 years old, it does not mean that you can commit a crime. I don't know anything, what's there to say? The deaf old lady still said. Can I go back now? I'm getting old, old lady. Coming to the police station with you can't take it anymore. Go back. We have the right to detain you until the case is resolved. Let's go. Detention. I heard that the police wanted to detain me. The deaf old lady was momentarily dumbfounded. But she hasn't had a chance to react yet. Two female police officers stepped forward, one of whom stood up against the deaf old lady. Go directly to the confinement room. And the same. This scene is also happening in the interrogation room. When Captain Wang uncovered the case of Zhang Weidong's father, Zhang Jianguo, who had an accident at a steel rolling mill 5 years ago. And when interrogating Yi Zhonghai to explain the truth of the matter. Yi Zhonghai said, Captain Wang, Zhang Jianguo's accident was an accident. The factory's security department has also dealt with this before and compensated Zhang Jianguo's family, but it has nothing to do with me. It's okay. But according to our investigation, after Zhang Jianguo's death, his wife Qin Sumei had more than one dispute with you and your wife. The reason is that Qin Sumei suspects that Zhang Jianguo's accident is related to you, and now someone has called the police, claiming that you are the murderer. Nonsense, I am an 8th-level fitter in a steel rolling mill, a national model worker, and a street office model. How could I possibly do such a thing? If you ask me, there must be a problem with the person who reported it to the police. I suggest you quickly investigate. At this moment, Yi Zhonghai no longer knew how many times the person who was going to call the police had been greeted. Zhang Weidong, it's Zhang Weidong again. It must be his damn Zhang Weidong. This little beast is definitely him. How can we check ourselves clearly? It's not your turn to teach us yet. Captain Wang snorted coldly. Yi Zhonghai's face was ugly. Can I go back now? Go back. There's also the matter of silly Zhu and the deaf old lady. Someone reported that you were suspected of sheltering silly Zhu for a crime. Can you tell me the situation? The crime of sheltering. Yi Zhonghai is numb. This is such a special set, buckle it up one by one. This damn person who reported it is like having sores on his head. Zhang Weidong. It must be this dog Rees. Yi Zhonghai was furious in his heart. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining anger value X96 from Silly Pillar, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X98 from the deaf old lady, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the anger value X99 from Yi Zhonghai, ding. Congratulations to the host for meeting the 10 consecutive draw conditions. Do you want to draw a prize? Lottery. For Courtyard. Zhang Weidong's family has just finished dealing with Jia Zhang's affairs and asked Jia Zhang to compensate him for the 50 yuan he borrowed from his family back then. Cooking in the kitchen. At this moment, the sound of the mechanical system suddenly sounded. Zhang Weidong's expression moved. Without hesitation, he said. Ding. Congratulations on the successful lottery and winning the ticket X3. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Lao Gan Ma Do Sauce X1 inch, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Great Unity X5 inch, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Level 4 Fitter Skill Card X1 inch, do you use a Level 4 Fitter Skill Card? The mechanical sound sounded. Use. Accompanied by a surge of information pouring into Zhang Weidong's mind. It's just a blink of an eye effort. Zhang Weidong felt like a teacher who had become familiar with the 4th level fitter skills countless times. The 4th level fitter technique is instantly mastered. This magical ability shook Zhang Weidong's entire expression. Is this too strong? Just a lottery won so many benefits, what about the rewards afterwards? Read on to this. Zhang Weidong looked forward to it even more. P.S. 9th update, data is not moving, panicking one horse, is anyone there? Woo-woo. 010, the charm of scrambled eggs, law enforcement officers come to your door again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Weidong is in a good mood. Retract your thoughts and set your gaze on your hand. Brother, what dishes are you cooking? Sister Zhang, you will come to the kitchen now. She couldn't help but wonder. Today, the dish I'm going to cook is the simplest, but at the same time, it's also the most difficult. That's scrambled eggs. Oh, scrambled eggs. Is there any point in this? Seeing his brother Zhang Weidong skillfully smashing eggs and smashing the egg mixture into a bowl, Sister Zhang Yu couldn't help but wonder. On weekdays, when I used to watch my mom make scrambled eggs, I would just put the eggs in the pot and stir-fry them, which didn't feel very particular. Zhang Yu felt a bit puzzled. Scrambled eggs emphasize fragrance, looseness, tenderness, and smoothness. To stir-fry well, the key is to allow air to enter the egg batter, which is similar to the principle of whether a cake is loose or not. Today, I'll stir-fry it once for you to see if it's good or not. After finishing, you can evaluate it. Upon hearing this, Zhang Weidong smiled. After speaking, in the curious gaze of his sister Zhang Yu, he has skillfully ignited the fire, started the pot, boiled the oil, and then poured out the first layer of oil in the pot. The control of oil temperature is very important. In short, rolling oil cannot be used. Once rolled, the egg will be discarded. Fire and adjust the oil temperature to moderate. Zhang Weidong turned to his sister Zhang Yu and reached out his hand, saying, "Can you help me with it?" Oh. Zhang Yu was a bit stunned. He quickly obediently handed the bowl containing eggs to Zhang Weidong. I saw Zhang Weidong skillfully mixing the egg batter from the bowl, poured around the edge of the pot. About 10 seconds passed. Use a shovel to scoop up the formed egg chunks and place them in a ceramic dish. At first glance, this egg is layered with clouds, and a curl of white-hot air rises. A refreshing fragrance permeated the air. That's the fragrance of eggs. However, what surprised Zhang Yu even more was Zhang Weidong's quality in making scrambled eggs. It's really different. Brother, this egg is not yet fully cooked, is it? Zhang Yu pointed to the egg and said. The eggs are not yet cooked, so you need to use their remaining temperature to slowly heat them until they are cooked. This way, the scrambled eggs will be tender, and the eggs will maintain their original fragrance. Zhang Weidong smiled and said. Zhang Yu was somewhat surprised. Obviously, it was also her first time discovering that there were so many tricks to cooking. Where did brother Zhang Weidong learn from? Try taking a bite. Zhang Weidong held chopsticks and picked up some eggs for his sister Zhang Yu. Zhang Yu took a bite. At first, I didn't feel anything. But soon, she was completely stunned, chewing on eggs and savoring them carefully. After taking a bite of the egg, it wasn't enough, so I continued to take another piece and put it in my mouth. I savored it slowly, savored it, and left it lingering. It's that familiar taste. Zhang Yu wanted to catch that feeling, but after taking a few bites, she couldn't catch it in moderation. My heart is like countless ants. 100 claws scratch the heart. Make her heart itch unbearable. Is there a problem with this egg? Zhang Weidong was puzzled in his heart. Hurry up and take a bite of the egg, put it in your mouth. However, it was just a bite taken. He was stunned. This taste is so familiar that it makes him unable to help but think of some past lives. Do you remember when he was a child, his mother fried him a plate of bitter gourd fried eggs? At that time, there was an earthen stove at home, using a large iron pot. Every day, I come back from the fields to help the farmers. When you are very hungry, you can always eat the bitter gourd fried egg that your mother made for you. At that time, Zhang Weidong always thought that if he could keep eating, it would be great. Unfortunately, with the changes of the times, every family has money and the stove is gone, so it's directly converted into a gas stove. And my mother's health is also not good due to heart disease. Zhang Weidong has never tasted that flavor again. But now, the scrambled eggs he made himself. Surprisingly, it reminded him. Yes, this is the taste of home. It's a memory my mother gave me. Let him, for a moment, his thoughts fly. I couldn't help but marvel in my heart. My mother has been dead for 16 years, is she still in heaven? I actually missed it a bit. Brother, I think Mom still has Dad. Sister Zhang Yu woke up and lifted her head, but the little girl's eyes were moist without realizing it. Originally, their family was also happy, but 5 years ago, my father had an accident at the steel rolling mill. Last year, my mother was so angry that she poisoned herself by animals. This home is now in disarray. In the past 2 years, if it weren't for her brother Zhang Weidong, Zhang Yu wouldn't know what to do. Silly girl, with my brother around, no one can bully you in the future. Seeing the teary eyes of my younger sister Zhang Yu, Zhang Weidong also felt a bit heartbroken. Touched Zhang Yu's little head. I feel a little heartbroken. Alright, don't overthink it. Let's eat. I'll make something delicious for you today. I'll have some chocolate after finishing later. Zhang Weidong patted his sister Zhang Yu and smiled. Chocolate. Brother, you're spending money again. You'll have to marry a wife in the future, but you're not allowed to spend money recklessly. Zhang Yu doesn't have a good airway. Got it, brother, listen to you. Zhang Weidong also expressed helplessness towards his younger sister. The siblings are having dinner at home. My mood is rarely good. Jia Zhang sighed. But it's another scene. Mom, I want to eat meat. I don't eat steamed buns. What's delicious here? Dogs don't even eat them. Silly Zhu was caught and his family ran out of lunch boxes to support him. Qin Huiru's son, Bongan, has had a picky stomach since childhood. There is no oil or water left. I smelled the aroma of rice from Zhang Weidong's house again. He threw away the mess in his hand and started making a scene. Zhang Weidong, a little beast, deserves to die. His parents don't have any mother to raise him. Can we still eat delicious food together? Jia Zhang's mouth was just wide open. It's even difficult to eat. She immediately cursed when she smelled the aroma of the rice at Zhang Weidong's house. Mom, don't say anything, just make do with it and eat. Qin Hui is also in a fierce mood now. Yi Zhonghai was arrested, and there was no one to treat Zhang Weidong in the entire yard. She had no idea what to do. I'm not sure what's happening with Yi Zhonghai now. If something really happens to silly Zhu, what will happen to her family's life in the future? The more I think, the more miserable my heart becomes. Eat and eat, you scumbag knows how to eat, it's useless. You can't even deal with Zhang Weidong. What's your use? The more Jia Zhang spoke, the more angry he became. A slap hit Qin Huiru's face. In an instant, Qin Hui's face was swollen from the blow. Xiao Dang and Huaihua, who were scared to the side, dared not speak. I haven't waited for Jia Zhang to continue cursing. At this moment, 2 police officers suddenly walked into the courtyard. A police officer walked towards an old man's house. Another police officer walked towards the Jia family. However, when Jia, Zhang, and Qin Huiru heard the police standing at the home of an elderly woman, at the next moment, they went numb directly.